Hi, in this video we're going through everything you need to know for the UFO Parts challenge for your 100% playthrough. How to start it, where the pieces are, and how to get the ever-elusive Space Hopper. Hi and welcome back, my name's Dan and I'm an old, grumpy gamer. Grand Theft Auto is a truly massive game. Between GTA 5 and the constant updates from Rockstar for GTA Online, there's no shortage of new content and interesting things to do. Join me then in our continuing series, Getting Gold in Every Damn Mission in GTA 5, as we look at the UFO Parts challenge and how to get the GTA Story Mode's rarest car, the Space Hopper. Before we dive in, if you're new to the channel, we do how-to guides, news, and giveaways, so consider subscribing and ring the bell to stay up to date. Completing this challenge is extraordinarily tedious. There's no two ways about it. It's boring as shit. It was boring capturing the footage, and I suspect Kengo9990 was bored out of their mind editing the video too. To complete this challenge, we'll need a helicopter, a parachute, and about 2 hours. Now we're starting near the bottom of the map, so you can typically find a free helicopter from the hospital here. On top of the police lockup just a few streets away. Or near the private moorings here. Oh, and full disclosure, I'm using a couple of mods here, but only for the sake of clarity and brevity. The mods I have are Menu and Collectible Collector, and in this case have been used to locate the scraps a bit quicker, spawn helicopters, set the time of day, and set the weather. So nothing too nutty, and nothing that changes gameplay, only functions that make it a bit quicker to record this video and to keep the video light and bright, and links are in the description below. Right, on to the main event. Not too far into the main storyline for Grand Theft Auto, Franklin will see a new Freaks and Strangers marker for Omega. He's an interesting fellow who's rightfully convinced a spaceship crashed some time back, streaming parts all over Lost Santos. He then tasks you with collecting these parts, so he can assemble the spaceship and potentially head off to meet our alien overlords. Now while this is technically Franklin's quest to complete, any character can pick up the parts. I'm using Franklin here so he can have some additional hours in flight to improve his stats. And we'll be following the mods list of parts for this exercise, which means we're a bit all over the map. It's far from the most efficient way at it, but it means we won't miss any. Starting right down the bottom of the south end of Los Santos Airport, the first part is next to this dumpster. Note, you will get a warrant, so be quick. Heading to the Merriweather boat shed just east of the airport, we want to jump off the concrete pier and head for this debris. Over to this rocky outcrop just a little further east. Back to the port, and we're heading for the pipeline between the two gas storage domes. Make sure you have a parachute before attempting this, just in case we slip. Oh, and if you're not using a chopper, there are some ladders on either side which you can climb up. Back east a bit, and we're looking for the deteriorated stormwater outlet on the beach. Off to the industrial art installation next, just inside the entrance there to the right, on the roundy benchy thing. Heading to the Globe Oil Refinery, there's a couple of shipping containers near the offices of Building 1, and we'll find the part in the open container under the stairs. Next up, we're heading to the main hospital in South Los Santos, just on the roof there, next to the helipads. Off to the vagrant camp under the overpass next, where we'll find a couch between two supports near the substation. The part will be in front of that. Next, we're heading to just behind the liquor hole on the Vespucci canals. The part can be found on top of the structure for the no-go vodka billboard. It's awkward to get to, and you have to really watch that descent too. Okay, we're making our way to the city side of the slipway for the last act dam. This part can be found in the middle fin just off the gantry. Make your way to the reservoir next, where we'll find the piece on top of what I assume is an observation or an instrument room. Off to the mountains next, there's an interesting cave formation near a small creek. Oh, and pro tip here, if you're having trouble traversing the hill, aim a small weapon. This gives you better traction and will make it easier to get up the face of the mountain. Back into town, we're heading to the Simmet Alley open air market, which you might remember from the story mode mission Chop. This time you can find the part about halfway down in this dirty looking alcove thingy. While we're in the area, head over to the Penrith building. This one is a proper faff to get to without air transport, but you can find it behind the decorative bit of the facade on top of the central part of the building. Speaking of utter pricks to get to, number 16 is part of the underground tramway that's being renovated. So grab yourself a small vehicle and head to either the construction site or the overpass. Drive or ride into the tram line, keeping an eye out for actual trams, which have about the same level of patience as the freight train. After a bit, you'll roll past a stop that's being renovated. Head up to the platform, up the ramp over to the left, where we'll find the next piece behind this orange barrier between the architect's plans and the plastic sheeting. Back to the movie studio lot again, and this time we're heading to stage 15 on the set of Deep Inside, or you know, the main outdoor set. We're looking for a set of stairs opposite to what looks like the bottom part of a fountain. Head up the stairs, jump onto the roof of the building it's attached to, and we'll find the next piece a few steps in. Staying in town, we're heading to this rooftop green space. The park can be found in the middle of some shops. Heading over to this French provincial looking building where we can find a disused rooftop pool, and the part should be in the middle there. Over to the Lost Santos Golf Club next, or as most of us know it, the golf course. We're looking for the part on the island in the middle of this water trap. Back up to the top of the Last Act Dam again, we're looking for this short pier on the side of the lake. Take a dive in and we'll find the part near one of the pylons in the water. Over to the channel between the ocean and Alamo Sea, there's a set of outlet pipes near the channel's mouth, and we'll find part number 22 here. This one's a massive pain in the backside to get to. Head over to the reservoir above the city and look for this observation hut along the road. Jump into the water and we'll find a piece at the base there. Unfortunately, you can't get back up in the same way, so you'll have to go for a bit of a swim and do a bit of parkour to get back to the vehicle. Way over to the west side of the island next, on this weird little formation. There's a small sandbar off to the side, and that's where we'll find the next one. Heading to the private resort just out of town, we can find the next one at the base of the tree on the other side of the water feature in the driveway. And that's the halfway marker. You can see what I mean about tedious. Next up, we're making our way to the observatory. This time we're going to pop up to the roof next to the dome on the western side, where we'll find the piece near the base of the dome's structure. Back towards the eastern side of the island, about halfway up the hill, we can see this modern home. We can find this piece on the concrete pad on the ocean side of the compound. Continuing with our theme of doing the least efficient way possible, we're back out to the western side of the island where we can find this little grotto. We want to head to the back right of the cave where we'll find the part submerged next to this rock formation. Speaking of rock formations, the next one can be found inland off a dirt road near this mini cliff face thingy. Staying in some of the more rural areas of the map, we're heading back to the hillside vineyard next. The next part can be found 4 rows in from the dirt track at the top of the hill, assuming we only count the full rows and not those 2 little endy bits. Next up, we're heading for this overpass near a big T-junction. Plonk yourself down at the bottom of the overpass and head into the river. The piece we're looking for is at the base of the waterfall. Heading to this dated homestead on the hill next, the part can be found at the back of the property between some plants. Over to the abandoned property about halfway up the hill here, the next part is hidden under the collapsed veranda at the back of the dilapidated building. Back up to this old busted property not far from Trevor's airfield. Despite being a couple of busted trailers and an old yacht in the middle of one of the poorest parts of the whole island, there always seems to be a couple of brand new Sentinels parked around the place, which is in no way suspicious. We can find the part on the other side of the boat behind the dinghy. Next, we're heading to the Polito radio satellite array, specifically the satellite on the far left when you're facing the highway. Head up to the top of the stairs to pick up number 35. Back to one of the streams leading into the LMOC again, about halfway up we can see this old enclosed bridge. We can find the next part just underneath, near one of the stone pylons. Staying on the same lead-in stream, we're looking for this little waterfall. A few feet upstream we can find the part in its little eroded bit on the shoreline. Next one along is a bit further inland. Just south of the LMOC you can find this rock formation with a bit of a walking track up the side. We're about halfway up. Rightio, another painful one next. Heading up the mountain ranges, we need to plonk ourselves down about 2/3 of the way up the mountain and then walk down this goat track to get the part. Oh, and don't forget about the aiming trick to get back up either. Heading to the hippie camp next, where we can find the next part at the top of the concrete art installation. Right, we're officially 80% done, only 10 more to go. Back to the LMOC again, this time we're heading to what looks like an old mooring near this blue building. Head to the middle of the pondy thing and take a dive under the water where you'll see the part on the seabed near some rocks. Heading up the Feeder River next, we're looking for this bridge over a small waterfall. You'll see a rocky outcrop with some grass and some shrubs in the middle of the falls, and we'll be able to find the part on the high side of those rocks. Over to the old boathouse on the far eastern side of the island next. I originally picked this part up for another walkthrough, so please forgive the change of outfit and transport. As we return to our regular viewing, we're off to the highway bridge next, and this one's challenging to get to, so we'll come back to it in a bit. Heading northwest a bit into the outskirts of Polito, we're looking for this paddock which normally has a few cows running around. The part is located near the feed bin. Back to the other side of the island again, looking for this little doodad off the main coastline. The part is located not far from the big tree. Staying in the more rural parts of the map, we're heading over to the other side of the Alamo and into the mountains a bit, where we'll find a bit of a valley with an abandoned property and a pretty rickety looking shed. Walk into the open barn doors and the part will be up the back on the left. Back out to the other side of the map again. On the other side of the highway from the coast, you'll see a square concrete tunnel next to a large fallen tree branch. The part is on the highway side of the tunnel. Not far away is the fire station and fire training ground. This time we're looking for the part on the second floor in the training tower. Head up the stairs and jump into the concrete structure to collect it. And for the penultimate part, we're heading to the Zancudo grain growers at the north of the map. Look for the silver silos and an older looking but reasonably well maintained barn. The part is right up the back there. Okay, time for the final part. So we're heading back to that bridge we checked out for number 44. I'm sure there are a number of ways at it, but the way that came to mind for me was to parachute in. Head out to the ocean a touch and gain some altitude in the chopper. When you feel like you're high enough, rotate so the pilot side of the helicopter is facing the bridge, bank right, jump, and pull your chute more or less straight away. Oh, and banking right will make sure the heli falls away from your direction of travel, so you don't get turned into mincemeat by the blades. Line yourself up left of centre, making sure you aim at a support so you don't accidentally roll off when you land. And finally, keep your head positioned around the middle of where you'd like to land. Once you touch down, you should be able to reach the part, and then it's a big old congrats, you've collected all of the UFO parts. Now after a few moments you should see a new marker on the map for Franklin. Head over to this one and enjoy the cutscene. Omega is a genuine laugh, so make sure you have the sound up. Once he's given his demonstration, that's it for the Omega questline. Jump in the space hopper and settle in for a driving experience. It's not a fast experience, it's not a particularly lively experience, but it certainly is an experience. And once you're back to Franklin's house, store the hopper in his garage, and that's it, it's now yours. And thanks for watching. Check out the video up the top for another handy guide, or the one down the bottom for some more old Grumpy Gamer goodness. Stay safe, wash your hands, and we'll see you in the next video.